We've got the all-new Acura ADX.
It's the A-Spec, eh? Wait, there's no grab handle. Easy there, Andrea. It's got a CVT.
Gets a little bit louder there, doesn't it, when you accelerate?
Did you have it in subscribe?
No, I had it in sport.
Okay, good. All right, so we are driving the ADX. It's a brand new model for Acura. What's under the hood of this thing?
A 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. It's matched to a CVT, 190 horsepower and 179 pound-feet of torque. In Canada, standard all-wheel drive. In the US, front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive options are available, and Acura recommends premium fuel.
Really? It's funny because they use this engine in other vehicles where it doesn't need premium fuel.
But remember, it's not required, it's recommended.
Okay, so how did they come up with an ADX? Well, they start out with the HRV. That's what Honda sells, is their subcompact SUV. Then they Accurize it, make it more accurate, and they throw in some stuff. So let's get into all of the key standard features.
The base trim comes with a 10.2-inch digital driver display, a 9-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a wireless charger, 8-speaker Acura premium audio system, leatherette upholstery, heated front seats, 8-way power driver's seat, a manual passenger seat, heated steering wheel, panoramic sunroof with power shade, power tailgate with walk-away close, and Acura Watch driver assist technology. In the US, not all these features are standard, but they are available.
So what that HRV I mentioned a moment ago does not have is really any power. It's a barely adequate 2-liter 4-cylinder. So putting the 1.5 turbo in here makes it much more responsive.
Yeah, a big difference really compared to that HRV, but this is not a powerhouse. The power is sufficient. You'll notice when accelerating on the highway, it takes a little bit to get going. But once you get up to highway speed, then you'll find that everything kind of settles down. The cabin is a bit quieter. But no, it's not a powerhouse.
Because it has a CVT in a premium car, which is a sin, really. It's a sin. To put a CVT and in a premium car, we like a regular automatic, please, or a dual clutch. You have that there at the Honda company.
Yep.
That would make it much more snappy. But I will say, Honda makes pretty good CVT, and when you put it in sport, it makes it livelier.
We own a Honda Civic and it has a CVT, and Honda does make a good one. This ADX has a sport tuned suspension and has 4 drive modes, but the top trim gets an extra one, an individual mode. You'll find that this is tuned more for comfort. I would say sportier than something like a CRV or an HRV. But if you want something engaging, you're going to have to move to the Germans, BMW X1, and even the Mercedes-Benz GLA is quite good for engagement.
So I mentioned this is built on the HRV. If you go back one step farther, it's actually built off the Civic platform, which is a great handling product. The new Civic is fantastic, but the new Civic also has one little trick that this doesn't have. It's a hybrid, and we're going to touch on that a little bit later in our Questions, Coffee, and Cars.
We're also going to talk about pricing a little bit later on, and I think that there's some value on the base model. But once you start getting into that higher trim and you look at the pricing, and then you start looking at the Germans with automatic transmissions and more power, then you start to say the pricing is a little bit too high. The turning radius is good on this. The brakes feel good. The steering isn't too light. It really does generally have a nice, comfortable feel to it. It's a nice city driver. Is
it different than the HRV? Absolutely. They worked on the suspension. They worked on the quietness. They've improved the power. It's got a much nicer cab, and they're both good handling. But when you add in the more power, it makes it a much more satisfying everyday vehicle. So it's premium. You're paying for it, but you get more. So to make it look like an Acura, they really focused on the front, Andrea. They gave it a big beak. They made it long hood with the Acura grille and those fancy headlamps in there. Is it proportional though? Is the front proportional?
Well, I think you've got some HRV design elements, especially in the back, but it's all Acura Acura in the front. I actually like the look of it. I think that they did a great job with design. This A-spec model looks good. You've got the Pentagon grille, and it has a good wide stance to it. I think it looks good on the road. This gets 7.3 inches of ground clearance and comes standard with LED headlamps, LED tail lamps, 18-inch wheels, available 19-inch. All-wheel drive models have a temporary spare tire, and front-wheel drive models a tire repair kit. There's one feature that I know Zach loves, is that the side mirrors tilt down when you're parallel parking or backing up.
Yeah, it should for a premium car. Okay, we're at higher speeds now. We've got it in sport, right?
Yeah,
so I just want to say, before we do that, what else can we put it in?
Well, you got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our reviews drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review, twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So hit it, because I just want to show something all the way to the floor. So in sport mode, I've noticed they pipe in a sound, but it's the tone of it I don't like.
Okay, I want to put it in normal mode and see if there's a difference. Here we go.
Okay, lift off. I'll put it in sport. Okay, foot to the floor again.
Sounds the
I don't know. Maybe you're right.
Sounds the same.
I do notice it
Just
at
loud.
not highway speeds. What's that?
Just loud.
What you say?
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
listen, there's not very many times in your commute to work that you go foot to the floor unless you're passing a truck on the highway. But hear it now, you see what I mean? Anyway, it's not a sound I love.
No, but when you do, as I mentioned earlier, get up to highway speeds, everything settles down and it's quiet. And I know that Acura worked on noise, vibration, and harshness, and they've got acoustic glass, and you can tell versus the HRV when everything settles.
We mentioned this is based on the HRV from Honda, and if you look at this, you can see the bones. The bones are there of the HRV. You can see a bit of the honeycomb grille here, then they cover it with a brushed applique. The shifter is here, the head unit and the digital instrument cluster, very similar, but what they have added to make it an Acura is all the materials are that much better.
Yeah, definitely much better than the HRV. I like the elegance of it and the simplicity. Lots of knobs. You've got a volume knob, temperature control. Some people don't like the screen sitting on top of the dash, but it is what it is. That's what Honda is doing right now with their models. This has got the available Bang & Olufsen sound system, which is very good. I think it's a really well laid out interior, and this A-spec model that we're driving has some extra features like the chrome on the shifter, a flat bottom steering wheel, A-spec badging. The gauges on the digital driver display are in red, and you've got this red stitching.
It was really hard to videotape this. On the side of the console here and also on the door cards, there's kind of like this honeycomb texture to the plastic. It's a little subtle touch, but it's those little differences between what you get on Honda grade and what you pay for Acura grade.
And this comes loaded with a lot of standard features. So that base model, they've loaded it up and there's some value there for sure. I like the ultra suede leatherette combo.
These seats are nice. Oh, they're good.
So comfortable. Yeah. Like you would go on this for a longer drive and you will be very comfortable. What I don't like is that there is no power height adjustment, not even a ratchet manual for me. I am sitting lower to the ground and I don't like the feeling. Like Zach is just, it feels like he's towering over me.
Well, I've just got the torso of a giant. It's interesting because we had a video of a three-row SUV and we keep on going on about how they have to have a bench and captain's chairs available on all trims. Yeah. Someone says, you got to give that whole thing up. You know what? We never, ever, ever hear that from you about a height adjustment on the passenger seat. So we're going to keep hammering these car companies that a height adjustment should be included, especially on a premium car.
Well, especially at the price of the top trim that Acura is charging. This shouldn't be four-way. Come on, come on. Also, there's no heated rear seats in the ADX. That's another miss, in my opinion, for the price point.
We found something out recently. People are miffed about where cup holders are placed.
Oh, yeah.
So they've separated. There's one in front of the shifter, one behind. You get used to it. You've got the wireless charger in front of that. The door cards are small. You're getting a water bottle and not much else in there. And how's this? This is big though.
This is not bad. When Zach and I got in and we have, of course, had our coffees, they said, Zach, which cup holder do you want? As the driver, I gave him first choice.
Thank you. Available features include a 12-way power driver's seat memory, driver's seat lumbar support, 4-way power passenger seat, ventilated front seats, Google and Alexa built-in, 15-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system, surround view monitor, white ambient lighting, front and rear parking sensors, and a hands-free power liftgate. So here's me getting in the back seat. This is one of the biggest in the subcompact space. You get good legroom, good headroom. A big difference between this and the HRV it's based on, you get an armrest with cup holders in this model. How does it stack up?
The ADX offers 41.9 inches of front row legroom and 37.7 inches of second row legroom.
Now this model has a power liftgate, which is nice. Now earlier Andrea mentioned that if you get the all-wheel drive models, you get a spare tire, but underneath we have a tire repair kits. So riddle us that one, Acura. How does it stack up?
Cargo space behind the rear seat is up to 24.4 cubic feet and overall cargo space up to 55.1 cubic feet.
Yeah, so this is supposed to have a temporary spare tire, but it does not.
I don't get it.
Take it up with head office. All right, your questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Is it worth upgrading to this compared to the TLX or RDX?
The TLX is a sedan. The RDX, it's interesting, Andrea. I did a little digging.
I know.
And so the A spec of this and the base model of the RDX, this was in Canada on their online calculator, was only $20 more a month to get the RDX.
If you're leasing,
If you're leasing it, and a lot of people lease these cars. So you got the 2-liter turbo, close to 300 horsepower, regular automatic transmission, much bigger vehicle. That's the deal. They got to work on the pricing of this.
They got to work on the pricing. My first answer to this is no. I think that the RDX is a better option unless you want something that's smaller, but this is already a pretty good size. So for me, the extra power, the automatic transmission, RDX all the way for an SUV. And I don't mind the TLX, but I would actually go for the Integra instead. And I wouldn't get the CVT. I would get the 6-speed manual.
Yeah, but that's like that's a tiny percentage of the market.
I know, but
okay,
RDX.
You're going from a subcompact SUV to a sporty car with a manual. That's not the same world.
It's not the same world. So RDX it is. Both HRV and ADX require the hybrid powertrain. Yep. Hopefully next year they'll make some upgrades.
So we grilled the PR rep for Honda Canada. We were his guest at the fireworks here in Vancouver. It was great to see John and ask lots of questions. He just said, basically, hold tight. There's going to be a lot of announcements coming from Honda Acura over the next little while. He wouldn't say what it was, but I'm guessing it's going to be kind of that.
Interestingly enough, when we were at the ADX Drive event in California, I spoke to the president and he asked me specifically, do you really think that Acura needs a hybrid? I said, if you had launched this ADX with the hybrid powertrain that's in the Civic, this would be such an amazing seller. People want hybrids. Like, read the room, right?
Hey, if you want to get a question in for a future episode, follow along on Instagram. It's Motormouth_Andrea. You can also see what's going on behind the scenes. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button.
OMG. They finally put the gear shifter back. I hate my push button MDX. Stupid idea, Acura. Well, you know why it has the shifter and the RDX has the button, as does the MDX, is because this is based on the
Civic platform.
Yeah. CRV, HRV, they all have a traditional shifter, and I agree with you.
If Andrea had her way, it would have a manual. Did you hear that on Honda Acura? And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Does the ADX not feel like an overpriced CRV since they have the same engine and platform?
Well, in my opinion, Andrea, it is a different product. It feels different than the CRV. There's a commonality, as we've talked about already. Civic HRV, this, and CRV are all based on a similar platform. I just wish they had done what we've talked about already, made this the hybrid. With all that extra torque, it would have been more satisfying.
What I would have loved to see if they're just going with a gas model is put a similar powertrain that the RDX has. Go with an automatic transmission. Go with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. So that top trim and that pricing in Canada can compete better with the German brands.
Absolutely. All right, so let's get into the vital stats of ADX.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The base model ADX starts at just over $48,500 and the top trim is just over $55,000. In the US, the ADX front-wheel drive model starts at $35,000 and the top trim all-wheel drive is $44,000.
Here's the all-wheel drive fuel economy, 9.1 liters per 100 kilometers city, 7.7 on the highway. That's 25 miles per gallon city, 30 on the highway. The ADX is not rated for towing, and the warranty is 4 years, 80,000 kilometers, or 50,000 miles. The ADX is assembled in Mexico. All right, let's get into the competition. One you thought maybe was discontinued, but is still kicking around.
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is the Audi Q3 with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 228 horsepower and a starting price of $48,000.
The Volvo XC40 with a 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 247 horsepower and a starting price of $47,000.
The BMW X1 with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 241 horsepower and a starting price of $52,000.
The Cadillac XT4, while it's still around, the 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder, 235 horsepower and a starting price of $52,000.
So there are 4 subcompact SUVs for you to consider.
Lightning round, 2 things we like, 2 things we'd like to see improved.
I like the design of this.
It's actually very comfortable to drive.
What I'd like to see is a height adjustment on the passenger seat.
I'd love to see something other than a CVT and a premium product. That's a sin. You go to the sin bin, Acura. All right, Andrea, it's the ADX. What do you guys think of that?
Thanks for watching. And if you like what you see, subscribe. We'll see you next time.